Hey, here's a point. Star Trek's original series worst. This is why the internet ruins us. Today on Trekland Tuesdays Live with Dr. Trek, that's me, Larry Nemecek, coming at you every Tuesday at this time, right here from the heart of Trekland through Portal 47. Hang on. If you're new to Trekland Tuesdays Live, we will have questions and answers after the break, although you can certainly chime in the chat right now. If you're on Twitch and YouTube, you should know that, hi guys, but most of the chatting is apparently happening on Facebook at my Facebook page. Just so you know, Twitchers, don't get disgusted. You're not being ignored, okay? You're welcome to go to any of the platforms and chime in. But yes, and we'll have the Parrot Analytics for streaming TV after the break as well. But right now, I want to welcome everybody and a special shout out here, hey, to our Patreons, our TTL Club, and our Live Wires. I'll mention them again, but I want to thank them for helping this expand the empire of Trekland Tuesdays right now. Hey, look, this is a simple topic. And yay, for the second time in a row, we're getting away from the COVID and the racial justice upheaval, both of which are necessary to pay attention to. But I know sometimes we just want a little bit of a break. Don't think we're shying away from either topic because we're dealing with all of that. Some of it's new and some of it is, I don't know, 400 years overdue. But right now, in this corner of Trekland, a problem that's also overdue, but I don't know what to do about it. And I'm not trying to be Pollyanna here. I just, in the great tide of headlines that you see on the internet, something that is hardly the most newsworthy, hardly the most egregious, hardly the most eye-dropping, and yet there was just something about my daily Star Trek news dump with a headline that said, Star Trek, the original series, ranking every major character worst to best. And this was on What Culture. So, it's not a horrible site. It's not a clickbaity site. It's not one of the fandom menace sites, but they cover, TV, film, WWE, UFC, I guess leading to the title, What Culture? I know, I shouldn't say anything. It's going to there's going to come a time when my football fandom is called into question as anti-civilized, but the way we keep re-examining everything. But no, this headline, Star Trek, the original series, ranking every major character from worst to best. Okay, you won, Internet. You got my curiosity. I want to know who they thought was a worst character. And are they going to talk about all the guest stars? Are they going to, what's the deal? Well, you go there, you go to, is there no, oh look, there's no byline name, but still, it's not horrendous, it's not badly written. In fact, once I got there, and I'm coming to the big point in a minute, once I got there, the story did not read that badly. It's, you think it's going to be a hit job, it's in here for cheap points, it's here for cheap clickbait. It's written an intro that's made it for people younger than 12, talking about, yeah, okay, but it all began here. And, what would we be like without our iconic originals? Okay. And then it starts off this way. But when so many of the original crew remain cultural icons to this day, which ones are the best of the bunch? Let's find out. And I was like, okay. So they have a top 10. And number 10 is honorable mention, Captain Christopher Pike. What, honorable mention for worst? What, how is this going? What's happening here? No, number 10, Pike, and it's Jeffrey Hunter's Pike, obviously. Just very explanatory. Just explains the thing as if you'd read this 20 years ago, or 10 years ago, much less right now, with Discovery and now Strange New Worlds on the way. And the bottom line to this 4 paragraphs is, without Pike, Star Trek wouldn't exist, and it's incredible how someone who had so little screen time became such a namesake of the franchise. Well, that's, okay, yes, I know. That's the 2020 version of it. That's all fine. That's good. It's like, well, we can not even nuance the hell out of this. We can, whatever. But my point is, and by the way, guys, I'm not going to look at the questions, but I'm hoping that we don't have 3 weeks in a row of choppy video. I haven't seen anybody comment yet. Again, yay to the questions, yay to the chat here. I've seen nobody say that it's horrible, so maybe that means we're on normal speed here again on video. I certainly hope so. But my wind up here is, I'm looking for the worst characters. I thought we were going to get a list of, I thought it was going to be major clickbait, and we're going to get, I don't know, 60 or 70, 75 characters starting with the worst. Because, there's been a lot of, I think it's unfounded once you look at the historical metaphor it was supposed to be based on, but I think I was looking for Harry Mudd in the bottom, or Colonel Green or something like that. But no, we start with 10 and we start with Pike. How worst can Pike be? Okay, so you go on, right? We head on to, is this a scroller? We head on to trying to figure out where the arrow is to go to the next clickbaity story. This is funny. Oh, there we go. It wasn't outlandish. You actually got 5 or 6. Okay, number 9, Janice Rand. What? Janice is the worst character? What? Well, you actually start reading these. There's no superlatives. There's no extremist adjectives anywhere. Nothing is the worst. It's all just a ranking. She was eventually written out of the show with conflicting reasons to do with cost issues, but also reported the producers wanted to free up Kirk to pursue other women. Character was featured in cameo. I mean, it's all just descriptive and analytical, not judgmental. There's not even that much snark associated with any of these. It's actually like it was written by somebody over 40. And then number 8, Nurse Chapel. The pictures chosen aren't ridiculous. The other main recurring character on the list, unfortunately, she can't rank much higher as her part was quite limited compared to the main crew. It's a real shame her character wasn't included, as she committed to the franchise even after her husband. This is very intelligently written. And now, basically, when you get through to this, it's not a listing of Star Trek Original Series characters worst to best. It's a listing of the top 10 characters basically in billing order, with one exception. It goes from Pike, why did he only get one shot? To Rand, to Chapel, then, I don't know, Chekhov, then Sulu, then Uhura, then Scotty. It's just everybody in billing order. It's just everybody in cloud order with about 4 paragraphs of description. Nothing wrong with that. Maybe this was written, I don't know, maybe this was written at the dawn of the internet and somebody felt like they had to just, update it, change it with Pike. Now, what's interesting is modern eyes, young minds, new ideas. Kirk is ranked number 3 with McCoy second and Spock number 1, and you might look at that as the total sweep, saying Spock is the face of all Star Trek, which is, I don't know if that's been emotionalized since the death of Leonard or what, and it's a very valid opinion. A lot of people would agree with that. I'm not here to trash their ratings. My main point, if you haven't figured it out by now, is I went to this story to see what they called the worst, and I am hardly a mudball dweller. I didn't care. I was curious in a meta sense, not see what they really thought. And the whole piece is actually fairly well written. It's it's meant to clickbait you through to get the clicks, but it's not trash. In fact, the only trashy thing about this is the headline. And so it made me stop and think again that of all the folks that are getting ripped off in their writing, all the writers who are forced to pay to be paid pennies to write internet stuff for filler, if they're getting paid at all. We gripe a lot about the internet, and there is trashy stuff out there. And yes, we've got our toxic clickbait YouTube crew right here in our own domain of Trek. But there's a lot of writing out there that's just ordinary, common sense, mundane, layman-sounding writing about a host of subjects. And where the fault of the internet is gone, and I say fault, I'll tell you in a second, but where this has gone is to maybe more the headline writers than it is the actual story writer. It is in this case, and I'm not blanking all the trash that's written. People are trying to get eyeballs. They're trying to get clicks. It's where the business model is for 90% of the internet. I get it. It's not, subscriber or Patreon based. But this headline did its trick. It made me look. We are not, but it's not true. They're not going worst to first. Let's say it's a top 10 list. The top 10 characters of Star Trek original series. Apparently that doesn't get people to do what I did. Maybe it did 10 years ago. Maybe it did 15 years ago. But not now. But not now. So, in a meta sense, this is Trek writing. But we see it across the entire internet, right? And it's not just about this worst to best, like we're taking in the entire scope of the universe, which is the other aspect of this. It's misleading on scope, but okay, fine. That's a trait. The headline writer's trick of extremism in adverbs and adjectives, it's to get you to look, yes, but look what it's happened. It's not, if only it were Star Trek stories. But we see that in politics, we see it in sports, we see it in celebrities in Hollywood, in all kinds of culture. I'm sure the Ladies Every Other Thursday Quilt Guild national website at times gets into how Tilda destroyed Martha's O2 cross-stitch octagon flour sack special. I'm totally BSing here, but you know what I mean. So much of what turns me off in the internet is, and not like I have time to read all this, but these horrible, horrible headlines. And no, I'm not just being gripey old man screaming on my yard at the kids. There are studies being done. I don't have one to cite, but maybe that's a time for future. We can find them. There are studies. We all talk about the coarsening of our language, not to be a Pollyanna here, but a coarsening of our language, not just in our viewing of the world around us, but in the viewing of other people, other human beings. We talk about tribalism in our politics, much less in our fandoms. Yeah, there's bots and trolls online taking advantage of this, and they're amping it up. But when you've just got basic headlines that say someone attacks, someone debates, someone attacks, someone appears to win a one-sided debate, either way, and the headline is Senator Smith destroys bozo in trash can? I mean, destroys. Isn't there enough power going on in the words without going to words like destroys, blows up? I mean, it's gotten to the point where it has no effect on me. I just now tick it off in my head when I go through even the sites that I enjoy reading, and you see that kind of headline ease, and I just roll my eyes and I move on. The last thing I want to do is read that, because it's obviously been, if not written, edited by a moron. An atomic bomb destroyed Nagasaki and Hiroshima. Hurricanes, name one, of the last 20 years. Katrina destroyed that, and lousy planning with overdue dikes and levees to be updated. Katrina and its aftermath destroyed much of New Orleans. That's the real word. Look, this goes back to, there used to be these two words. This is something I noticed in my news days. There were two words, effect and impact. Impact, effect used to be, here's concept A, and somehow this changes concept B, whether we're talking about ideas, mainly ideas, and conceptual ideas that were not physical, but maybe sometimes physical too. Here is, I don't know, let's call it an asteroid, and here is lunar surface. Bang. That's an impact, physical contact. Okay? Physical contact. Somewhere in the 90s, things stopped affecting other things. things started impacting things. There was a time early on when I couldn't understand how social concepts were physically hitting other social concepts, or demographic concepts, or political concepts, or sexual concepts, or sports rules repercussions. Were how do those things impact? A ball impacts a batter's helmet. A bat impacts a ball. Now you could say a bat affects a ball. It affects the ball's trajectory. It probably even affects the ball's surface. But in the shorthand, it's a bat that impacts a ball. But somewhere along the way, impact became okay to use as effect. Because somewhere somebody decided that effect was too wimpy a verb. And thus everything now impacts things that never actually physically touch, because impact is more powerful. Well, it's actually wrong, and it's actually where the language falls apart. Now, no, I'm not a French academician. The French Academy famously sits around and debates words, and nothing is official until the French Academy in the French language, within the French language. Nothing is official until the Academy votes on it. Well, we're out here in an English language that's already the mulligan stew of languages anyway, and we've got dictionaries struggling to keep up, so much that we've got the Urban Dictionary now, we've got Slangopedia. I mean, we've got all these things online struggling to catch up and to date the origins of words and usage and all that. Now, I'm sorry if I've left you whipsawed because you thought you were sitting down to watch a Star Trek commentary. It starts there. It just was amazing to me that as much as I was happy to see that this was actually just a normal, hey, kids, let's catch you up if you don't know Star Trek article, why did it have to say worst to first? Are we that bad off? Have we been so heightened? When I was a kid, people were debating Laugh-In in Sesame Street. Laugh-Ins in Sesame Street's quick cutting, oh my God, was going to mess up our attention spans. Well, that was kind of, then we get to MTV and everybody's important because they talk to camera. Okay, so we're fine on the real world. Yeah, we've got those cultural milestones, and now we are where we are. And part of that is internet headlines. And can I do anything sitting here railing about it? Can I save the lost language? Can I save the lost sensibilities? Can I single-handedly pull us back from this stupid tribalism where everybody, if you have a difference of opinion, you're obviously trying to destroy the other one? No. I can't do that by myself. And I'm not about to. And yeah, this genie's out of the bottle. Those horses have left the barn. Whatever tired metaphor you want to do it. But you know what? We can still be aware. We're also dealing right now in a world where a lot of the obvious things that cause hurt and pain, much less misperception, but they've gone unquestioned for years, if not decades, if not centuries, are suddenly and en masse, sometimes violently, but if nothing else, violently in the speed and the depth that they're being rolled out. We're not just looking at one thing or two things. We're not debating whether the word Negro or colored or black or African American is the best term to use for people who descended from Africa, were mostly slaves, and have been struggling for their civil rights the last 10 years through horrendous racism that's never really let go of its grip. And all of the insidious ways that drips through the culture, redlining in housing projects supposedly for low-income people that just segregate them even more. School, I mean, everything, even by people who weren't aware of it, even perpetuated by people that weren't aware because the voices weren't allowed to stand up and say. And we're attacking all of this now, and it feels exhausting, even if you agree with it. Even if you're angry that another facet has been uprooted. that you didn't know about, that you thought you were fighting the good fight all these years, and lo and behold, the guy that carved Mount Rushmore was a Klansman? Are you fucking kidding me? I'd see the idea. So yeah, it's exhausting. But to paraphrase the great Samuel T. Cogley, who talked about books, my good man, it's words. It's words, my good man. So no, I jumped right in the middle of Black Lives Matter there, and equity and fairness for all, from my little treatise here about Star Trek clickbaity headline words. That might be too far a leap to go. But if we can all agree that these headlines are out of control on simple things like this, because we keep pushing this perceived need to grab your attention, that's part of the reason why nobody is stopping to think anymore. If that's a little case there, if we can all just start to agree that that's kind of ridiculous, and then we don't really destroy and go on down the list of other verbs. That's just the one that I just clench my teeth when I see. If we can just pull back from that. And yeah, I mentioned football earlier. If you want to blame sports headlines, all the militaristic terminologies and vibes that are in sports headlines, that's a fair game. Although at least it felt like that used to be a sports thing. At least it used to feel like that was and that's only been the last 20 years. If you go back and look at headlines of the 50s, 60s, 70s, maybe it crept in, but it was reserved for truly, landmark moments. Yes, until the last 10, 20 years. Again, as I told my kids growing up, it's inevitable that you're going to curse. It's inevitable that the cuss words are going to come out. Just save them so that they're not common, because if you do that, then when you do choose to use them, they will have power. Using them every day, using them every sentence, kind of dilutes the power where no one's paying attention when you really do feel something powerfully, when you really do feel strongly about something, when something really is one in a million. I don't know, maybe we can back that up off cuss words. Maybe we can back that up to the ridiculous range of verbs and adjectives that get used in our headlines. I don't know how we as a people do that unless we start another hashtag campaign and start another protest march. And there's plenty more important things to be more protesty about right now. I'm still in favor of saving the planet somewhere in the middle of all this mess too. But it's something to be mindful about, because if we save our specificity and our true emotional range in language, we actually do strike a blow. There I go. See, I just went physical. We actually do, say something. We actually do have an impact. We actually do have an impact. See what's happened? We actually can affect all of those other discussions, all those other debates, all those other fights and struggles. Because words is so much a part of it. We're seeing that daily. We're seeing new acronyms come up to replace the old ones. And yeah, maybe you're thinking about it in a legalese way, in a cultural way, in a social justice way. But, it all starts in the home. It all starts in our hobbies. It all starts with Star Trek. Yeah, my little TOS ranking worst to best wasn't the biggest thing in the world this week. It wasn't the biggest thing in the world in Trek. It wasn't the biggest thing in the world of worthless extra bonus filler articles taking up the internet in the realm of Star Trek. But to me, it just stuck out as a sign, as a symbol of a whole domino effect. Hey, I promised you not just the same old here in Star Trek. Because I was about to say, if they're saying that Pike is the worst of Star Trek, are you kidding me, man? What bad timing. Not really. Hey, listen. that's going to do it for part one here. Everybody says, what do you mean part one? Well, you'll see what I mean eventually. I just want to, as I said, thank all of our Patreones. Okay. Hey, our live wires, Blaze K and Lawrence Todd, thank you once again, guys. The new month just came out. And of our TTL club there with the non-existent cup that everyone gets free. And then our live wires, of course, Rusty Harrell, Mr. Vestec, J. Lynn Bullock, Jared Cooper with 2 real R's, and Habjarn Gunjohnson. I want to thank you guys so much. If you're wondering what you can do to help, this is the only Patreon I do. It's very simple. Patreon is the way that backers can help their creative project at a time or just ongoing basis like a subscription. I do $5 and $10 a month with the shout out, and then the $10 is that plus access to original, they're not old, original Portal 47 guest night recordings that even the Portal 47ers have not seen yet. And yes, as always, I'm behind on this. Hang in there, guys, with me. We're getting there. We're getting there. I do want to thank you for helping us spread to different streams, even if we get into this and the Twitchers are mad that I'm ignoring them. We'll see. Otherwise, around the interwebs, I hope you guys can join us for Life Support Live. I hope I can join us for Life Support Live. I had some difficulties last week. We did a brand new format with a movie watch for the 4th of July special. Rather than take the day off, we did something light that we still planned for and watched, yes, Insurrection. But this week, we're going to be back to normal with our normal format. So be looking by later tonight. We'll have the vote up. Join the Facebook page for Life Support Live. You can post, you can join the conversations there. You can also vote every week in our poll of what's coming. Okay? But I'd love to see you Saturday at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. British summertime, 7 Central Europe summertime. Dr. Ali and I, one of us is a real doctor, and we talk about Star Trek going boldly through uncertain times. Yeah. And this week on the Trek Files, I managed to pull another historic piece out of nowhere that I've stared at so often, and it finally dawned on me. Gene's first thoughts about Next Generation with Captain Walter T. English and his nickname at the Academy, Stargazer. I know, it's amazing. And so John and I talk about that. Check it out. It's up there right now. This week's new one, as well as all the old issues. We're in our 5th season. The Trek Files on Facebook, along with the documents. Hey, it's the only podcast that gives you paperwork every week, too. And guys, everywhere else, it's at Larry Nemecek on Twitter, just as it is if you're on YouTube watching me right now. And it's Larry Nemecek's Trekland on Instagram, just as it is if you're watching me on Facebook right now. And of course, if you want to do more in Trekland, if you enjoy our big picture, point-to-point, connect the dots, just go ahead and jump in with the Portales at portal47.net. It's a mini-con all year long. For all the Star Trek fans who had no idea how much Star Trek they had no idea about, okay? Would love to have you there. Listen, I'm going to be right back after the break. We may be leaving you right now here in future editions if you're watching us later on. But for right now, I'll be back after the break with the Parrot Analytics, streamTV ratings, a quick look, and, yes, all of our Q&A. I will catch up. Someone's been madly trying to tell me something for 30 minutes, and I'll find out what it is. Anyway, guys, until we talk next time, look us up on any of our other shows. We get to make these Trek connections. Check us out at everything at LarryNemecek.com. All of our Trekland projects. Boy, until we can see you live at a con again, this is Dr. Trek Larry Nemecek saying, please, guys, stay healthy, okay? Stay woke in all the right ways. Check your sources. And most of all, Trek well, everybody. All right. I can't wait to scroll back on my new expanded big remotely controlled keyboard here. But let's look at the parrots first, okay, guys? Once again, Parrot Analytics, they measure the streaming networks because nobody else can. They've come up with a mnemonic to do it. They're not measuring actual eyeballs. Been doing this 10 years because, yeah, we have the Nielsen's, we had broadcast TV, but that's not where most of the action is with TV series. Those Emmys have to be given to shows that no one knows. So here on in the States. They measure all around the world, country by country, but in the States market, which is the biggest, this week the top 10, again, they've the last month or so switched to from their mnemonic, their algorithm is average demand expressions found by scouring the internet for everything. No matter the source, no matter the reaction, no matter the format of the platform, they're compiling this to show how popular, how in demand series are. So the top 10 here, it's expressed as a percentage of, or a factor of an average show. Just knowing that average, this week the average is 64.1%, which is kind of what they've settled into. 64% of everything you can possibly see on any platform, streaming or broadcast, is an average show. So there you go. 24% are below average, and then you tick upward above that. 8% are good, 2.7 are outstanding, and 2/10 of all of them are exceptional, which they kind of mark. But here's what we're looking at. The top 10 uber popular in-demand shows. Stranger Things starts off at their new factor of 65.3 times more popular. Then Dark, the German show, is very popular. Then our top 10 finish out with The Mandalorian, Harley Quinn, Doom Patrol is on the rise, Titans, The Clone Wars, 13 Reasons Why, The Witcher, and Narcos. That's the top 10. Narcos ending at 30.9 times more popular than an average show. That's the in-demands. No Trek, nothing is out there now. These shows, unless they're 2 or 3 or 4 of the year's mega shows, tend to only last for the times that they are actively being seen online. There's no fresh Star Trek. We'll see what happens. Overall, the market is the in-demands. The most popular are SpongeBob, My Hero Academia, Game of Thrones, then Stranger Things from the digitals, Avatar, then Dark, and then Steven Universe, WWE, Monday Night Raw, The Walking Dead back up because of the comic book, I don't know, and The Flash, 50.2 times. That's the top 10 overall. Only 2 of the digitals are there. I'm still watching these week to week. You get a little insight, you know, into what's going on. Boy, speaking of going on, something's going on out there. But hey, live, guys, live. So that's the parrots. I'm going to zoom back and see what's going on with questions. I'm hoping video is looking okay. Hi to everybody from around the world, and as always, if you're new, I'll try to give you a shout out. Yes, John X, it is Tuesday. Right. Hey, Richard Moroshinsky. Streaming promptly on time at 1:37 p.m. Yes, Boyd, it's a free show. I know. I'm going to have to knock down the door of all my commercial supporters who are going to be mad at me for being late. Thank you, Christoph. Video perfect today. Boy, everything is turned off. Still waiting on the new iMac, though, but everything is coming. Good to see everybody. I'm glad. I hope everybody else is fluidly video streaming today in today's world. Bist du English on Twitch? Am I just talking? I am German. Hi. I can't see, for some reason, Twitch, the names are all changing to blue on gray, and I can't read them. So, yes. Oh, I have a disgusted Twitcher here. Oh, he's 12. Okay. Oh, Stephen, you think that... Stephen Fothery has a comment to make. Football culture is only uncivilized if you like a team north of the Red River. Oh, look, he's got laughing emojis, of course. We'll just let that. Where's my "oh, you were still on top" button, which never seems to go out of style? Yeah. We're only going to be talking this year. I don't know how we're going to have sports or football or anything else right now. I hope the world keeps coming to its senses. I hope the Americas, I hope the U.S. has learned its stupid lesson that you can't rush a virus, especially if you've got people ignoring the virus. The audio is tinny? Jesus Christ, the audio is tinny. Did I not get the audio? Well, we'll see. Yeah, you know. Yes, they're just ranking. Yeah, hi, Chad Walsh. I don't know if you're new to Tuesdays, but yes. Yeah, they put worse as an attention grabber. It's like slapping you in the face, right? How many times do we all need to be slapped in the face before slapping has no effect, right? Um, oh yeah, Daniel. What culture is? I should have mentioned that because it's the OU on honneur. I knew it was British. Yeah, and everybody, I had no problem. It was just a top 10. That's fine. My whole point there was, as I said, once you even read the writing, it's fairly straightforward and fairly, I don't have to say positive. It's just fairly normal. It's just that headline. It's just that one word. And why they didn't say top 10 original series characters ranked? When did that become too wussy a headline? It's like everybody does it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Negativism sells. Chad, hi, Chad. If you're new, I appreciate you speaking up. Negativism sells. Biggest political troll won the presidency until we get smart. We have to go through a revelation to get smart, to get woke about things like that. Yes, Daniel. There's a recurring. It's been happening for months. Discovery Season 3 start date information. Yeah. And you scroll and you scroll and you scroll, and the information is that there is no information. They've been doing that for months, and COVID only pushed it back longer. Right? Right. Right. Hey, Steve Atwell. No, there is no terribly late in my internet. You're fashionably late. Hey, Diane. Yeah. Yes. Oh, I know. The job of the advertisers to get our attention. But that's ad lingo. There used to be, the famous wall between news and advertising, between content. Now it's not news. Now it's content. I've told you all the story about the first time I heard somebody use the word content for the words of writers. Content to me is the contents of a can of dog food that rolls off an assembly line. I hate the use of the word content for the things that fill up all the spaces on my web pages. Like it's just concrete we rolled out there. Like it's just manure I'm spreading on my fields. Some of it might be manure. But that it's just a mass that somebody out there makes because they have a recipe to make it by. Don't get me started on this. I hate the word content used for writing. And images. Yeah. Hey, Trek on the Tube. The etymology of the in cuss word and how it originated, it comes from the Spanish word. It's a slur of negro, which itself is from the Spanish word negro, which is the Spanish word for black, which my little fourth grade mind was blown away the first time I learned Spanish. And found out, ooh, really? The Spanish word for black is negro? But, it didn't start off as a racist or a race-connotated word. It's what was applied. Yeah. Thank you, David. Yeah. And my oldest stepson that I really didn't raise, years later, he was talking to I heard him talking to some little kid, and he said, hey, if you're going to cuss, save it for when you need it. And I was like, something I did actually soaked in. Wow. Chad, wow, hello, Chad. You're making a big impact today. Chad says, I'm reading the live, and if this is not your first time, I'm sorry. But Chad says, I'm reading the life of Samuel Johnson by James Boswell, and man, people were more learned and were able to actually have substantive debates in the 1700s. Seems like we are becoming the people from the movie idiocy. It's amazing. Forget even the retro TV channels that give you scripted shows. Watch the black and white game shows on Game Show Network, I was a little kid. This is in my memory hole. I had forgotten how even the plaques, when you had contestants sit down and they had the name plaque in front, The one I remember here is Price is Right. The original Bill Cullen black and white Price is Right, but also the original version of the Match Game. That same host, Gene Rayburn, Gene Rayburn was the host, but it was a much more, yes, it was a much subtler, much more restrained, sedate time. But aside from their conversation, they actually referred to each other as Mr. Smith and Miss Johnson. They actually had titles on the names. The name plaques on the consoles at the sit-down desks and on the stand-up consoles all said Mr. and Miss on them. It's just that all changed. I just want to blame everything on the Kennedy assassination. Everything got coarser and rougher after that, and everything boiled over. But you watch those early game shows, yeah. But overall, the tone is so much more erudite. Or you watch, What's My Line from the 50s. It's just so much more White Glove and Kitty Carlisle and Mamie Eisenhower. Anyway, yes. Well, hey, Keith, glad you can make it. There's just no late in Trekland Tuesdays Live. Hey, Cairo47 coming from Twitch. Says, for some time I've been trying not to use the word hate in most cases, but instead use something like strongly dislike, as we tend to use hate quite easily when we actually just mean we don't like something. Ooh, I hate that. Right. Show us your feet. Okay. Twitch. Thank you, Diane Hunt. It's good to see you again. It's been a while. Yes, Jared, your R is there. Sorry about that. No, Nardi, you're not just a little Aussie. Oh no, did video mess up? Maybe it's just Nardi. Maybe it's just your Outback video. Hi, Nathaniel Robinson. Hello to you. New name coming over on YouTube. I'm still wondering how overpowered a word that meant to be overwhelmed and weakened. How overpowered a word that meant to be overwhelmed and weakened meant to be invested with unbelievable strength and talent. Yeah. It goes from the point of view of the witness to the point of view of the person. It was supposed to be you were overpowered, and now it means he had too much power. Right. Overwhelmed. I haven't seen that a lot, but that's, yes. Uh-oh, we're going slow. Oh no. Well, at least we got the main point out. We'll see. Oh, I didn't catch this, Justin, but thank you. Dragon Con finally canceled. Well, they had to, and everybody knew it was happening. And they just canceled for the year. They didn't postpone. Oh, hey. So Planet Comic-Con Kansas City finally did. Yeah, well, we've had this whole wave the last 2 or 3. All that reopening for Memorial Day that we had to happen. No, it didn't have to happen. And now we're going to have, thousands more people die. And tens of thousands of people carry residual. There's lots of people. We're just now getting a handle on this. I am not a doctor. I'm not a doctor. I'm a pundit. But we're going to have an awful lot of research come out about it. Even if you don't die, you're going to have all these residual lung effects, pulmonary effects. Pulmonary meaning the blood system, the heart system. Whether it's arthritis in your feet or effects in your feet, residual effects in your lungs, the blood flow to your brain, whatever it is, there's going to be a lot of residual that may take years to clear up, if ever, even if you don't die from the COVID. So it's not a one and done thing. So we need to avoid catching it. And yeah, some of the stupidity done in the fact of we've got to do this, we've got to do this. The economic burden is horrendous. And the only silver lining there is maybe for once our friggin' governments will actually do something to support the people, not the people at the top. And they could stand a little more pain than the people at the bottom. But also maybe look at this whole microscope of all these individual things that have been walled off in boxes. I mean, okay, I'm not going to get off on that. Talk about a sci-fi story for the ages. Our science fiction themes, yeah, dystopia, and how you get there, or future tense, whatever it is. We're living a sci-fi story right now, and the people that are pissed about ignoring the fact that that's what's going on, I'm going to say maybe they aren't sci-fi fans, but you're a science fiction fan, literature or film TV, and you don't appreciate what's happening right now. Like I said, 30 years from now, future Star Trek, this is going to be the year they come back to. That's the pivotal time travel. They're not going to come back for Edith Keeler's time. They're not going to come back to save Kennedy. They're going to come back to 2020. You know it. You know it. Hey, Eugenio. Hey, and welcome to my nearest Portales. But anyway, Justin, I would be glad if you can get me to Kansas City Comic-Con. I've got family in Missouri that I never get to see. I could run down and see them maybe. Yeah, Dan. Yeah, the basic story of that character, that list on what the story on that What Culture site, the story's fine. It's my whole point was about the headline as a tiny reflection of. There we go. Thank you, Richard. That was bugging me, and I was tired of not doing right by you. That's a point to me. Yes, GalaxyCon has been streaming panel. GalaxyCon, the world is going to know about GalaxyCon. It was this local regional Florida convention, and now the world knows that GalaxyCon is the one able to monetize with all their guests, not just Trek. And it's, when this comes back to normal, it's a single air quote, when it comes back to normal, GalaxyCon will reap the dividends in a financial way. Oh, I meant to see the doctor's panel, and I missed it. Hey, Frank Corsentini, speaking of my Portales. No Star Trek shows are back in production. Almost, I don't know what. I saw somebody the other day in an entertainment circle called The Table talking about a small independent movie that was going back to film, but then he listed the 47 things they were doing, including it being a format where the actors in a scene did not have to be 2 feet away from each other, or a foot away, or in bed together. It was a kind of a story that they were able to film even with a 2-shot, where the 2 shots could be, feet away. We'll see, much less the crew all standing around. But yeah, 99% of Hollywood, Vancouver, Toronto, whatever you want to say, is not happening. So it's not like Star Trek is ahead or behind the curve at all. It's right there. Andy Farber. I just stepped in some content. Hey, it's hard to avoid if you are watching the internet every day. Show us your feet. I can't, man. If I show you the feet, I will knock over the camera, literally. Normally, I would, fulfill all requests on Twitch. I know it wasn't originally a racist term. Yeah, Trelane's reference to Uhura as a negress. Yes, and Lincoln also. Yeah, the old Match Game. I love the old Match Game song. Showing all Match Game episodes in chronological order. Well, of course they are, and especially now, because it's all people have to do. Hey, Cairo, but in Star Trek, people get healed and are fully fine the next episode, so it surely has to be that way with this tiny virus, right? Yeah. I'm sorry, Cairo. You might want to look at this with the 2017 eye and watch the streaming shows and get rid of all that old stuff. Wear a damn mask, hashtag, yes. Hey, Eugenio, did I have a chance to watch Alone Together episode 1 by Sid and Andrew? No. Alone Together 1. I will try to do that. Oh, no, I didn't. Duh. And I wanted to again. I'm just not getting to watch. Andy, when will they cancel STLV for December? Oh, I don't know. October? November? It's not going to happen. I know everybody's trying to put a brave face, and everybody wants it to happen because it's only July and it's December. I don't know. I don't know. I do not know. I don't understand what the issues with What Culture title. Totally makes sense. Yeah, Dan. None of my business, but what is wrong with your feet, Larry? Nothing's wrong with. Well, one foot's asleep right now, but oh, they record it. You can watch it on YouTube. Good. I was hoping so, Eugenio. Loving that Big Finish, the company that releases the Doctor Who audio dramas. Yes, I helped get them. Chase and maybe Nana, if she did one. They're not Doctor Who actors, but they did voices for female characters. Yeah, Doctor Who, Big Finish does Doctor Who audio dramas, and they can record remotely. What a concept, the way the voiceover industry has been doing for the last 5 or 6 years, 8 years maybe, about the way I've been doing Portal 47 since 2015. Makes you wish they had the Trek license. I don't know what's up with that. Maybe CBS Paramount just wants to retain. I don't know what's the difference between audio and the books, aside from the fact of actors being involved, and they think audio is just one step closer to mocking the potential of film canon, and they don't want to confuse fandom in a way that they. I don't know. I don't know what the second guess is. I need to ask our friends over there that question when I get a chance. Hey, I think I'm at the end of questions, guys. Am I really at the end of questions over here? Am I really Gerard with 2 R's? Hey, guys. Yeah, I've been trying to be shorter. Have I gotten choppy, or did the choppiness end? At least the choppy only happened in questions. Who can tell? Who can tell? Maybe my wife is on 15 different Zoom calls at the same time. Yeah. Yeah, Dan, anyone can do a Trek podcast as long as you're not, using wholesale audio, an hour of audio from a show. Old-fashioned radio plays, exactly. Yes, anyone can do Dan. Hey, Rose Kirby, how many conventions have you missed? I've missed 5, but I'm happy because I'm saving a lot of money. Yes, and hopefully saving a lot of lives, your own included. Well, I don't know. You had the original calendar at the beginning of the year, at least 4 or 5 by now. It's going to be weird for a long time. People are going to say, what was the last live convention you were at? And for me, it was Gallifrey 1 here, the Who convention in LA that Sean always has me come to and be a token Trek person at. And we had a good weekend. But even that weekend, I remember people being a little, we heard about what was happening over there in Europe. And we were like, and there was like maybe 1 in California by then that we thought was the only 1 or 2. But we were all, okay. And watching the foreign travelers come in from Europe, since so many come in from the UK. I remember that. And then, yeah, I had 4 or 5 new ones. Choppy came and went. Yay. Big Finish adapted some Trek novels existing as audiobooks, but not original. There you go. There you go. Well, probably some that either didn't have an audiobook to begin with or whatever. Guys, I think that's going to do it for us. I've been trying to make these a little shorter and sweeter and more succinct. I don't know if my headline was grabby enough. I did use the word worst in my own headline, in my own theme today. But hey, thanks once again for being here with us on Tuesday. Once again, I just want to remind everybody that the Trek Files is up over at facebook.com/The Trek Files, and the documents that are there with us. An amazing piece that I had looked over many times before I realized what it was I was looking at. It's Gene's actual pre-think tank take on, you can tell exactly what was the biggest takeaway for him after years of having no Trek. He wanted an android named Data that was going to be Asian in appearance and had a completely different backstory. And he wanted a lot of things. I love it how his captain's nickname at the Academy was Stargazer, because he was such an explorer. Anyway, read the document. Listen to John's my guest this week, John Champion, and I talk about the document at the Trek Files. They're at the Trek Files, right? All the Roddenberry podcasts are at podcast.roddenberry.com. We've got some great ones and new ones, and the network is growing. Very proud of all that. Most of all, our Patreons are helping out. If you want to help out too, $5, $10. I keep it simple. It's not a big convoluted thing. I'm doing so much other. It's simple. If you want to help us out here at Trekland, grow the message, be a voice for sanity and clarity and the big picture and everything Star Trek. Come on over and help us out. Patreon.com/Trekland Live is how to do it. Yep. And of course, on Saturdays, 10 a.m. Saturday, the theme is not picked yet because we're going to vote on that starting tonight for a couple of days, and Dr. Ali and Dr. Trek, one of us is a real doctor, are going to pick it, and we'll be with you at 10 a.m. live again with all the fun and some thoughtfulness too at that time. Otherwise, once again, shout out to all of our Patreons, our TTL Club, and our live watchers. Thanks, guys. And yeah, you guys know the drill, or maybe you don't if you're new. Thanks if you were new with us watching in today. Come on over to everything else Trekland. It's at Larry Nemecek. Same as it is if you're on YouTube. That's my Twitter handle. And I talk about other things besides Star Trek on Twitter. A lot of politics, a lot of Sooners football, a lot of Will Rogers, who, like everything else, is not just dusty history, but it's some comfort to know that we are not doing this new. This has all happened before. He who forgets the past is doomed to repeat it. Yeah. Larry Nemecek's Trekland is Facebook where you are now, right now, probably. It's also the same on Instagram. Yeah. And if you enjoy all of this and want to come deep dive with us the mostest, just come over to portal47.net. It's our subscription. It's a mini-con all year long. Long before the world found out what Zoom was, we were free conference calling with guests you just love to hear from. Guys, thanks. That's it. And once again, I say, everybody, 2020 is only halfway through, which means that it ain't over yet. But there's so much good out there. People are taking this reset to do a lot of learning. And if you don't think the hell it's going to inform all Star Trek, even Happy Dappy #Strange New Worlds, and a standalone episode, and all of the animated shows to come and the things down the pike, no pun intended. Yeah. We're not going to forget this year. We are not going to forget this year. And I won't forget you guys for coming by. So please, please, please stay healthy. And please, please, please stay woke in all the ways. Check your sources. Most of all, as always, Trek well, everybody.